I'm going to show you how to make a simple straight skirt and change its style just by changing its ease. The easiest skirt is a tube. The tube can have 1 or 2 inches more circumference than your hip, and it will fit very snugly. The base pattern is a rectangle, and the amount of ease determines the skirt's style. You determine the fabric, the ease amount, and the length. I'm showing you this with a knit fabric. With a knit, you can make a skirt with 1 seam and no hem. This knit has a medium stretch across the fabric. It will produce an edgy skirt that fits well. With the knit, I can use a minimum ease. Sometimes, when you're sewing with knits, you can use what is called a negative ease. That's cutting the fabric smaller than the body measurement so that the garment will have to stretch to wear and will therefore fit snugly. I've cut the knit I'm using with negative ease. I cut the rectangle the length I wanted the skirt and the width of the circumference without ease. I want the skirt to have 1 seam running the length. Sew the vertical edges. Pull on the skirt and see how it fits. You can run elastic around the waistline or turn the top edge over an elastic ring to keep the skirt up. Take this same skirt and lengthen it. Use a zipper that opens on both ends. Add a belt and you can have a dress or a double layer skirt depending on how you wear it. This is the simplest version without darts. I realized the zipper could actually work around the neck to help hold up the dress. There are many zippers available to use, exposed and in other decorative ways. You can choose various teeth, even rhinestone studded. They give an edgy look to this deconstructed garment. If you use a woven fabric tube, add more ease and gather the top of the skirt and add a waistband. You have an entirely different looking skirt, such as the dirndl skirt we saw earlier. If you add yet more ease to the same shape, you'll get another style, or you can replace the gathering with pleating for still another style. But they all come from a tube that started with a rectangle of fabric. On these simple tube skirts, you adjust the way they hang at the waist to keep the hem parallel to the floor, and finish them as you desire. With classic skirts and more structured fabric, you can shape the skirt with side seams and darts. If you add vertical seams, make sure they fall perpendicular to the floor. To get the fit on this skirt, darts are added across the top, with at least 2 in the front, 2 in the back, and 2 hidden in the side seams. These darts can be fit right on the body with a muslin or the actual skirt fabric. To prepare your fabric for pin fitting the darts, make 2 rectangles for the front and back by adding 3 to 5 inches to your hip circumference and dividing by 2. Make the rectangles as long as the desired skirt length plus 4 inches. Then, cut the second rectangle in half vertically for the 2 back pieces. Baste the narrow rectangles together, leaving about 7 inches open at the waistline. This is the skirt center back. Baste the back to the front with the right sides together, the center lines aligned, and sewing the same distance from the center lines on both side seams. Tie or pin a ribbon or elastic around the waist and try on the skirt. I've marked the center front and hip line so I can make sure it's always plumb. Position the center front, back, and side seams on the ribbon and pin them at the waist. Arrange the pins in fabric until the seams in center front and back are all perfectly perpendicular to the floor. This is how a skirt pattern looks. When you overlap the side seams, you can see how they are shaped to conceal a hidden dart at the waist. You will first want to taper the side seams into the waist. Start with a dart about 1.5 to 1 inch deep on both sides. Add or subtract to fit smoothly and shape it over the hip as needed. I fit the back darts next. The darts almost expose themselves. Pin the dart shape with the fold on grain between the waist and hip. Balance the darts on each side for size and placement. When you're finished, compare the darts and make sure they are equal width and length. They should be at least an inch shorter than the hip line. Adjust as necessary unless your body is asymmetrical and you have a higher or full hip, in which case each side is fit and constructed independently. Repeat on the front if needed. Mark the waistline. Mark the pins and copy the muslin to make a paper pattern, adding seams and hem allowances. A paper pattern is desirable because it will stay on grain and a fabric pattern won't. With this skirt pattern, you can borrow details from other patterns, such as putting pockets into the side seams and changing from a waistband to a contoured waistline. And if you sew a skirt to a blouse or top, you'll have a dress and be your own designer.